speaker meeting. We have a very special speaker here from Tulsa, and he has asked for Sydney to introduce him.
Hi, I'm Sydney Addict.
Hi, Sydney.
I'm grateful to be able to introduce Frankie. He's a wonderful guy. He has an amazing story, and he'll make you laugh. That's for sure. But I just thank you for asking me to introduce you, Frankie. That means a lot. And I'm ready to hear your story again. Love you. That's all.
Well, hello, my name's Frankie. I'm an addict. Well, my clean date is 2/11/15. I'm creeping up on that 6-piece. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so I'm creeping up on the 6-piece. I'm a member of the Tulsa Original Group. My sponsor is Ed B. My grand sponsor is Colby B. And my great grand sponsor is Keith T. So we're all members of Eastern area. There's that, right? Anyways, so I'm a member of drug court. I'm a graduate of drug court. I'm a member of drug court. I'm a drug court alumni, bitches. I got here via drug court. My family's here with me too. This is my nephew and my brother-in-law. I'm out where I work at. You know, I built this office here a couple months ago. I did it. That's crazy, man. Like that's the power of the program. Prior to me getting clean, let's just go back to where I was a kid. I guess it's my experience, strength, and hope. So I guess I'll let you know a little bit about myself. I was born in Tulsa. You know, my parents were. My mom was an alcoholic, and she ran clubs, and my dad was president of the Home Builders Association. You know, and a successful businessman, and we share the same name. Like I'm Frank Neely. My dad's Frank Neely. You know, my grandpa Frank Neely. So, anyways, I'm from Tulsa. I didn't ever want for anything as a kid. I was probably spoiled. I had everything, you know, and my mom and dad divorced when I was 6 months old, so I would play I would always go to my mom. My mom would spoil me every time, you know. That's what she did. She bought my attention. She bought she just spoiled me. You know, I have 3 older brothers, half brothers that are 12, 14, 16 years older than me, and then at the age of 4, you know, every other weekend I go to my mom's. I could pull my own bong. You know, they taught me how to pull your own bong hit. You know, and so I would drink Little Kings and smoke weed at their parties. You know, I was like the fun of the party and stuff for them. And so that's like when that's when I first used. You know, anyways, you know, I'd always go back to my dad's. My dad wanted sole custody of me when I was 6 months old. You know, except for every other weekend. And he paid out the ass for it. You know, I mean, their divorce decree was crazy. They had a bunch of private investigator stuff going on. I mean, I don't know. I was 6 months old, but I know my dad kept his cargo van at his office full of files of, you know, he said, she said. It was like their whole divorce decree was documented, you know, and stuff. And so, anyways, I never actually. Got high enough to dig all the way through it, but I did brief through it a little bit here and there. So there's that. I went to school at Jinx. I went to school at Edison. I went to school at Hale. I went to school at Oklahoma City John Marshall. And at Sand Springs, but Sand Springs and Oklahoma City John Marshall were boys' home. I was in the boys' home. I became a ward of the state. My mom died when I was 16. Of course, I stayed with my dad till I was 15, and then I ran away from his house, which was a big. It was a mistake on my behalf. You know, I mean, I had a structured household that I lived in, where I where I could be held accountable for, to moving in with my mom, who was a full blown alcoholic. Even though my mom tried, I'm not hating. Like, I know she did the best she could with what she had. She tried, but she was a dry drunk for a lot of my childhood. But by the time I moved in with her when I was 15, everything was Jesus, Joseph, and Mary. Jesus, Joseph, Mary. It didn't matter if she had 3 drinks or 13 drinks. When I got home from when I'd see her, she was it was ugly. If I had friends come over, I'd say hold on. I'd hold them outside the apartment. I'd go in and make sure she was dressed. There was pee all over the couch. Whatever the scenario was. It was embarrassing. But that's just the way it was. I know my mom loved me, without a shadow of a doubt. She's an addict, but she's trapped in the endless loops of alcoholism, which I watched kill her. I watched it kill her. But I know God was working in my life even back then, because my mom and I was not loving and caring or any of that stuff towards my mom. I was manipulative and that I was at that boys' home every other weekend when I would get a weekend pass, because I couldn't go to my dad's house yet, which was what I was trying. My goal was I would go out over to see my mom, and I would just go run the streets, until Sunday, and then I have to go back to the boys' home, and I'd say hateful shit, but anyways, we had an outing, and I asked my boys' home counselor if we could stop by my mom so I could get couple dollars. And we did, because I knew she'd always give me some money. And we stopped by there, and there was an envelope on the door, and I knocked on the door, and I was getting back to the van, and everybody was like, hey, Frankie, your mom, she opened the door, and of course she was hammered, bro. She was coming too. And by the grace of God, I got to tell her, like, Mom, I got to say I love you, and that was the last time. She had a heart attack that night and died. So that was a blessing, And if you're new here, I don't mean to say God, like God. I mean, well, in Narcotics Anonymous, let's not get it twisted, man. These are not my teeth. I didn't get here on a winning streak. I smoked meth. I've done it all. I mean, I'm not I remember in the early '90s, I've always been a meth head, okay? But anyways, we were doing meth, and all of a sudden, everybody at the pool hall was doing it, was killing it on the feet, and then we'd sit down and we start, we start nodding out. Well, they started finally they told us, hey, this is actually meth cut with heroin. Well, by the time it was over with, it was just, heroin cut with meth. And all I could tell my buddy was hey, can we still call it crank? That's really all. I really just didn't want to be known as a heroin head. I was like, as long as we can still call it meth, I was cool with it. And that was in the 90s. Yeah, there's that part. Anyways, so I want you to know I've done some dope. Plenty of it. I'm 45 now, and I was a youngster then. But really, I mean, the program, it doesn't really matter what we use, but I'm just letting you know that as an identification piece that I used, And I used to the bitter ends, man. When I put into drug court, damn, I didn't have nothing. I had a bag of clothes and a judge that made me move into a recovery house, because I told her I was homeless, which I wasn't homeless, but you're not. I was the kind of outlaw that we're not inviting the police over to the house. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna do the walkthrough over here because we sold drugs out of the house. It wasn't my house, but I lived there. Those were my people, right? All right. Well, let's see. I didn't graduate high school. I'm a ninth grader. I went to all the 5 of them schools they were all in ninth grade. I love ninth grade, I guess. I stayed with it for 3 years. It was the best 3 years of my life. It wasn't really the best 3 years of my life. Anyways, so there's the ninth grade spill. Let's get a little bit further. I went to work for my dad. My dad had a stone company. It's a Neely Stone Company at 6111 East 15th Street. I worked for my dad for about 4 years, and I was just a pothead, during those times, and a drinker. All my friends were still in high school, and I would hang out the pool hall. I hung out at Sheila's pool hall quite a bit, playing 50 cents a lesson, foosball all night long. But at first it wasn't all night long. It was just drinking, selling Rohypnols in the parking lot, living the dream. Anyways, I worked for my dad, and so my dad, I was putting money back every week, and I would just take a little bit to spend, and I was saving for a car, and every once in a while I have to dip back into my car savings. And my dad, he'd always interrogate me a little bit, like, well, what are you doing with all your money, And I was like, oh, I'd always be like, well, I lost it playing pool. He's like, God damn, you must suck at pool, And I was like, I wasn't really playing pool. I was just doing drugs. So, I didn't tell him that though. So, anyways, I worked for him for a while, and I was in a relationship with this girl, and when that fell apart, all my other friends were doing drugs. We were doing meth at the pool hall. I mean, every Friday night we were weekend warriors. And they were, anyways. And so I went to my buddy Chris's party one night, and his mom was out of town, and I'd done some cocaine and stuff. I'd never done my DOC, right? But my friend Shane Edwards and Shane Spencer, they were going to the bathroom, and Shane Edwards worked for my dad, so he worked with me every day. So I was like, I fucking bulldog away in the bathroom, like, hey, what are you guys doing? I thought they had some coke, and they're like, well, Frank, this ain't what you're thinking. I was like, whatever, dude. You're coming off of some of that. And, they were right. It wasn't what I thought it was. Like, I took like 3 steps back into the bathtub and was like, holy shit. But by Sunday morning, we had all told each other's story like 50,000 times, like, how when you get on with a good one, for the first time, nobody got it worded in edgewise, but we told our life stories about 50 times, that weekend, and come Monday morning early, it was tough. Like, I was like, fuck, I'm about to go to work, and I don't know. I flirted with disaster like on the weekends for a long time, for a while, and then I quit working for my dad so I could continue on that journey, of doing some more drugs, and like I really got on one, I went from I don't know, it's probably about 180 pounds to about 130, over a summer. Like I showed up at my dad's office to get some money for a VW bus I was trying to buy. And he's like, God damn, son, what happened to you? I was like, I really ain't here for that, Dad. I'm trying to get the $600 for this bus. I said, fuck, you don't look so good yourself. Of course, my dad's creeping on 70. He's diabetic. He fucking sure as hell didn't want to hear that from me either, so. Anyways. So there's that part. Also, whenever I was in 5th grade, my mom married my stepdad. I don't know, has anybody here been to prison? Yeah? No? Yeah, well, my mom married Larry Maynard whenever I was in 5th grade. And if you know who Larry Maynard is, he's a straight up outlaw. I mean, he's the real deal, like a killer. And we became best friends. We were best friends from 5th grade, 6th grade. And in 7th grade, my mom picked me up for his hearing, for Larry's hearing. He'd been out for like 3 years. We went to some courthouse, and they gave him 99 years in a day, which was like, I guess you could actually do the 99-year sentence, but you're not ever getting out from the day. But during that time, like that kind of like opened up the world of outlaws to me. Like I seen a whole different spectrum of what I grew up accustomed to, and it was attractive to me. So like whenever, so I guess the more I used, like the more it didn't trip me out to continue to dig deeper, I don't know, and I just don't know. I used for a long time. I used for 25 years. I used my drug of choice from the time I was really 18 till I was 40. I used meth. I kept a job for a while. I thought I was what do you call it? a social user, responsible user, whatever. There's another cliche. I hear it sometimes, but I'm not coming up with it right now. I'm like, okay, so there's that part. And so, anyways, I was a functioning addict. You know, that's what it was. And what it was is I would buy enough to quarter paper myself out for the week. You know, because I could never I could never make it all week if not. But I was a skilled craftsman. I learned a trade or two, and then you know, and then my dad was in a bad automobile accident in California, and that's where the game changed for me. I was able to go out there though. I got planes tickets out there. I spent a week with him on life support. You know, he squeezed my thumb. You know, and I'd talk to him about what was going on, and I got to tell him I was proud of who I am and that I loved him, and what a blessing that was too. And I didn't know that he was going to pass away, but I mean I should have known, but I did, and I stayed with him for a week, and I came back home, and when I got back home, I called out to find out what was going on, and he'd already passed, and it devastated me. You know, it rocked my world. Like, my dad was my hero. He still is my hero, and I know, thanks to the program of Narcotics Anonymous, that my dad is happy and is proud of who I am today. It's crazy. But it's not really crazy. It's the program, you know. So anyways, I continued. I did good for a little bit. I worked, and then of course I owned a house and stuff, and my sister, my family, and I did good for a while, and then I started using again, and it didn't take long for me to knock down all the stuff all the nevers, you know. Like, I didn't ever want to cook dope. My friends were all cooking dope. Well, my friends that were using were cooking dope, you know, but I didn't want to, and I had a bunch of side work going. I knocked out the side work. I quit my job. You know, I couldn't keep my bills on. I couldn't pay my bills, so I was like camping out, you know, in my house, and it just started. I started not giving a shit about a lot of stuff, and so I sold my house and partied some more. Fell in love with a stripper. She was I'm damaged goods, you know. I know today damaged goods means like I probably watch out, just stay away. But you know, at the time I was like, hey, damaged goods, are you? Yeah, I loved her. I fell in love with her, and anyways, that was expensive and a long process. You know, a real long process. I mean, I became like the ultimate predator. I could find her at any motel in Tulsa. It didn't matter. I could find her. I leave flowers outside of her motel door and stuff. It was sick. Yeah, there's that part. So, anyways, like I distanced myself from all the people that love me, my friends, my family. You know, I made a new family. I mean, everybody I ran with was in the dope world. In Tulsa, I always clarify, like, there's like around Christmas or something, like, is there anyone here from out of town? And I'm like, yeah, I'm Frankie. I'm an addict from Turley. Yeah, and if I don't know about the city what that is, but in Turley, like, you know, it's like an identification piece in its own. Like, yeah, he's definitely an addict. He's from Turley. Yeah. Like, you know, I used to, when I lived in Turley, I'd go to the Maverick store, and right when you open the door, you know, the aisles right there, they had the bottles of heat, you know, going back. And you could always tell what's going on in Turley by how many bottles of heat are gone at 8 a.m., you know? Like, yeah. If you know, you know. You know, then it'll cooker wave, you know? Yay, Turley. So, anyways, I do that around Christmas sometimes. And I love doing it. Everybody laughs their ass off, and I do too. Yeah, because I don't know, man. It ain't serious. You know, our lives are at stake, but I haven't been having a good time. I've been clean, I just been having a good time. Like, it's crazy. So anyways, like, right before I got clean, like, I was in drug court, I was trained by another girl, not a dancer. This girl was a flea market girl. She is a dumpster diver. She had trained me in the art of dumpster diving, like, I knew if we're running around together, she'd be like, she could look at me and be like, you need to start looking for the good dumpsters. And I was like, hey, all right, I'm trying to get some later, so I'll start looking a little harder. At least look like I'm looking, So, I would do. I was trained in the art of dumpster diving, right? And I found this dumpster, right? And we dug to the bottom of it, and I was just, to be honest with you, I was her side piece. I wasn't her front runner, She had a boyfriend, and I was the Monday through Friday boyfriend while he was at work, and I wasn't even a boyfriend. I was just a side piece. I like to live in fantasy and claim that I was boyfriend, but I wasn't. me and my 4 teeth, we were not the front runner. We were the side piece. So anyway, here's what happened. Like, we cleaned this dumpster out, and like when I first got in recovery, there's an event called the Shake a Leg Camp Out, and okay, and look, I got in this recovery house, right, and the judge strongly suggested that we start going to meetings, and I'm in this recovery house, and so they finally get me to go to a meeting. Like, I was resistant. I did not want to come, and so the first meeting I go to is it's snowing out, and this dude has some pretty long hair, right, and he's there to open the doors, and I couldn't even hardly read, man. Like, I'd been so high for so long, it took everything I had just to read a sentence, and to retain or share about that sentence was like, there ain't no way. I'd have to reread it again, and it was rough. But I thought, man, as I started coming a little bit more, and I asked my buddy Cliff, I said, hey, man, who's that dude with the long hair from that meeting, I said, can you get his number? And because what I was like thinking, Frankie, man, you're 40 years old, and my life had been sucking for a fat minute, for real. And I thought, what do you got to lose, man? Why don't you give it a try? And so what happened is I asked him to be my sponsor, and what happened was Ed's B is my sponsor, and he's got beautiful long hair, and I thought, man, if I don't cut my hair, I could have long hair, and so. Because I've almost had long hair a couple times, but it would get hot, and I'd be high, and I'd shave it every time. Never could make it through it. So anyway, I asked him to sponsor me, and he was all over the place. We went everywhere that summer, but he had sent some sponsee brothers come pick me up from that recovery home, and I had this red Lucas Oil bag, and I was like, hey, when I got there, I had this vest, right? I had Daisy Duke my shirt, I was looking for some attention. I was like, and I got out, and I was asking this guy if he'd give me a ride up the hill, and he's like, fuck no. He rolled up his window and hauled ass up, locked his door, so I had to get back in the other car. And when I got out of the car, I asked Ed to come over there to help me get my stuff out, and he looks at this bag like, man, I had a bag like this. And I was like, whatever, dude, okay. So anyways, we make it through that weekend, and the next weekend, 2 weekends later, we have another event. He comes and picks me up for this event from my house, and we pull down 55th Street, and I was like, dude, there's a badass dumpster on this street. And he points to like Community Thrift. He's like, yeah, Community Thrift, they got good shit down there. And I'm thinking, whatever, dude. I'm not going to talk about Community Thrift. And so we pull in this driveway to back into his driveway. And I said, that dumpster was right here. And he's like, you was in my fucking dumpster? And I said, yeah, and that's your red Lucas Oil bag. It was like God meant for us to be together. That's my sponsor, And really, the first time I heard of NA was I was in that dumpster, and they had this old broke down truck that was right beside it, which I ended up owning that truck later on in recovery. But it had the NA symbol, like all the colors, that goes out, the Narcotics Anonymous with the cross on it, and the like north, south, east, west. It had that symbol on it, and I was like, And Emily was out there while I was handing her the loot out of the dumpster. And she's like, what do you think happened to him? And we knew he was a dope cook. We were like, well, he probably died. He was a dope cook, you know? Like, and she's like, well, they're in the fellowship. And I'm like, the fucking fellowship? And she's like, yeah, you know, NA. And I was like, I ain't no fucking quitter, you know? But who knew, like, 6 months later, I'd be clean, and that would be my sponsor. Like, that's a trip. That's my story. And that's how that stuff went. And so me getting involved with Ed was really cool, because Ed's a service junkie, you know. He's a service junkie for region. He's a service junkie for Eastern area. He's a service junkie for our home group. He's a service junkie for Narcotics Anonymous. He's the one that showed me, you know, he's like, whenever you get a chance, you need to commit to a home group, you know. And of course, you know, I was so burnt, man. I was like, well, I just made sure that was my home group. Like, his home group, my home group, you know. And it's still my home group. Like we meet we're at 1529 West 49th Street. We meet on Wednesday nights at 6. No, we don't. We meet Wednesdays at 7 and Sundays at 6. And because of the COVID, like, I haven't been hitting as many means as I used to. I'm scared of dying, kind of. It's the truth, I guess, man. I normally hit means so much, man. Like, I hit means every night of the week. And on the weekends, I hit 4 or 5 means a night, all the way through drug court. I graduated drug court in 17 and a half months, sanction free. You know, I was honors. I spoke at graduation. I didn't miss a single asshole through the whole system. I was like, Your Honor, PO. No, I'm just kidding. So I did do all that, man. I had a good time. You know, I learned some stuff. You know, I do remember, like, I want to go ahead and share, I was in an outpatient treatment, you know, and she would be like, we're identifying triggers, you know. Is this a trigger for you? You know, and I was like, I said, she didn't have no experience like we do, you know. I was like, ma'am, I said, if it goes from a liquid to a solid and back into a solid, I said, that might be a trigger for me. Everybody in class was like, shut the fuck up, Frankie. And I was like, what? She's like, I don't understand what you're saying. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I didn't think so. And then I went on to tell her, like, out of all 5 of these teachers up here, I said, you're like my 5th favorite. Yeah. Yeah. She didn't like me either, so it was cool. Anyway, so there's that part, right? My sponsor got me involved with service. I started out with, I started out with service just by showing up to my home group on a regular basis. But I didn't know that at the time. I thought my first service commitment was hospitality at Clean and Crazy. I did hospitality at Clean and Crazy 2 years in a row. I know how to make coffee for the masses. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and throw it out there. I love actually making coffee for the masses. All you need is a 5-gallon bucket and some willingness and a couple of coffee makers, and you get ahead of the curve. Once you get ahead of the curve and you get you a big coffee maker or container, which is really just a got water can, you can fill it all the way up with hot coffee, and then you can continue to, it doesn't even matter how much coffee you waste. As long as you have fucking hot coffee on deck for the addicts at any event, you're winning. So I did that. I did merchandise a couple of years in a row, and last year I was co-chair for the Clean and Crazy Camp Out, and this year I'm the chair of the Clean and Crazy Camp Out. If the event goes off, I'd love to see you all there. It'll be at 10 Killer State Park. It will be Father's Day weekend, and it's gonna be a good time. I know times are weird right now, so anyways, like I want to also, let's see, that's just what happened to me, but what happened was, like I said, I was so burnt when I got here. I just kept coming. I just went to all the meetings I could. I graduated drug court. I got a different job, where I could make a little bit more money. I saved up money. Bought me some teeth. I did that. And we did that. I really didn't do a whole lot of nothing. except for continue to show up, continue to try, answer questions out of the book, and just have a good time, really, and try not to hurt nobody all the time, like, like real bad, anyways. And but by doing that, becoming my family. Like I needed something different, I'm not saying that I still don't love my friends out there and stuff, but I came here so much and made this such a part of my life. Like, my home group members become my family. My sponsorship family become my family. People in the eastern area, I wore them down. Like, all the old timers, man, around Tulsa, he said a bunch of them lost a bet on me. They're like, I guarantee, I know for a fact, people with 20 to 30 years were like, there ain't no way that fucking dude's gonna make it. Like, I wore them out, and I wore them out every weekend. I would show up at your home group. And I was disruptive, and I always had something to share that wasn't important, and they loved me anyways. It's now today looking back, I know that they were like, I got pulled aside leaving meetings, like, hey, why do you act like that? Why do you do that here? And I was like, I thought, well, fuck. And I would know, because every other step I worked, my sponsor at the end of my step would be like, hey, when you're out there, try to act right, I'd be like, which one of them ratty motherfuckers was it, And I already knew who it was a couple times, but come to find out, like, I know who it is today, There's a bunch of them, but I was hell on wheels when I first got clean, like it. More today than now. I know the importance of paying attention during the readings and stuff, and try not to be disruptive. But at the time, I didn't know. My plan wasn't to stay clean. My plan was to graduate drug court and get gacked out. I was gonna go make love to myself for a couple of days. Doing what we do. But luckily, I had some more experience. Like, come say, hey. I was bopping around at their meeting on Saturday morning. I was like, hey, passing out readings. And she's like, hey, what are you going to do when you graduate? And I was like, whoa. She's like, yeah, well, I'm not saying to be a bitch. I'm just saying it because I've seen people like you come in here and do really good and then graduate that program and go right back out the door, And I was like, damn. I kind of, I had a truck that, it was a lot like me. His grill was all fucked up. It didn't have no back bumper. It was 3-tone. You had to lift it up. But I paid $300 for it from an Oxford House roommate, and so and it was legal, And I didn't want to lose it. I was thinking, man, that. It wouldn't be. I mean, it wouldn't take no time. And I used to tell people all the time, I'm a biker, cyclist. As I was a biker cyclist, my whole using at the end was the scrapyard, the re-uppage, the casino. Like that. That was it. If you left your car on 75 highway and you didn't come back and get it, well, it was at the crusher. It was flat as a pancake, and we re-upped that day. That's the way that one went. That was the Turley tour, like I was talking about, living the dream, brother. And anyways, like I've been clean for about 2 years. Like, when I come out for work one day and my truck was gone, and I was like, damn, I really wasn't surprised, and I was like, I had some money in savings, thank God, and it was like, I'd probably still be driving that truck if it hadn't been for whoever stealing it from me. It was God doing for me what I wasn't willing to do for myself. Plus, I was like, how can I really be mad after all those cars I crushed, Like, I remember one time this guy and this chick get out of the car, and they start walking down the hill like they must be out of gas or something. We looped back around, and we hooked up to it, and we fucking haul ass to the crusher. I mean, I'm sure whenever they got back, wherever they're going, they're like, where the fuck's our car, Yeah. It's anything 2000 or older. I don't know if you know this or not. Like, all you need is a bill of sale. And I had a stack of bills of sale already notarized, this thick. I got the stamp. I stamped them all. that's what we do. That's what addicts do. And that was the addict. I like to go back and forth a little bit. Anyways, I'm just saying. And let's go back to. I've had several jobs. I started my own business. I did all right. I paid my taxes. I didn't like just knock it out of the park, but I wasn't really as ambitious as I could have been. But today I live in my own house. My bills are paid. I have a truck. I have a car. I have a boat. It's big, and it needs some work, but it's paid for. Everything I own is paid for except for the house. It's a rental. And I have a bike. I got a Buell. It's real loud. It's fast. It's fun. But it's a Harley, but it's not like a recliner Harley. It's like a bar stool Harley. It's I don't know. Anyways, it's fun too. But anyways, so like when I first got clean, also, and I was in that recovery house, my nephew, who's like my best friend growing up, I knew he was successful and was doing well, and so I called him and asked him for some groceries, and I was thinking maybe I could get a job with him or something, and he was like, I told him I was in drug court, and I'd been clean for like 18 days, and maybe I could get a job or some help. And he's like, how long's that program? And he said 18. I said 18 months. He said, well, how about we try after those 18 months are up, And I was like, damn, I'd earned that one, I mean, hell, the police have showed up looking for me in his house for a fugitive warrant, all kinds of shit. I didn't even live with him. Like, I had my sister's address. Somehow they hunted me. They were trying to hunt me down, but I was skilled in deception. Like, he couldn't find me till I finally got caught with a scrap load at the crusher. That wasn't mine. That was stolen. But anyway, so there's that, and but today I work for him. This office that I just built. That's my brother-in-law right there. Like, this is the tool room, but it's kind of it's kind of like my office. Like this is speaking to you on my laptop. It's just like foreign. Just think for that's all this in 6 years. I had a duffel bag that I'd gotten out of a dumpster with some clothes. 6 years ago. 6 years ago, 2/11/15. I was like, that's what I come in to drug court with, and today I work here for my nephew. I mean, I'm making the most money I've ever made in my life on a consistent basis, which isn't really that important. Like when I took a $4 an hour pay cut to come to work here, and well, when they offered me, they told me they were going to give me a raise. I told them I really wasn't. They were tripped out that I didn't really want to know what it was, because I've also been building a relationship with my nephew's kids, and my niece's kids that I never have had before. I remember when the first year I was clean, like they came to the. I went to my sister's house, and my poor nephew's kids were like 4 years old. Man, they were like, my nephew was introducing me to them. They were like, God damn, Dad, what the fuck happened to him? And I was like, well, I had a real bad accident. I didn't tell them it was with the meth pipe or anything. I was like, this is a bad accident. Like, brush your teeth, kids. Fucking, it's real. And so, anyways, like, the opportunity for me to come to work here was by fluke. I put on Facebook that I lost my job on April Fool's Day, and my sister called me crying. It's going to be okay, Derek's going to call you, And I said, God damn, I said, it's fucking April Fool's, Settle down, So is your kid just a joke? And I was like, yeah. Don't tell Derek, though, So he called, and he's like, hey, man, I done talked to my wife, and if you know my nephew, like, he was like, of course, he don't do nothing without talking to his wife first. And I was like, damn, he opened up the conversation with that. I was like, shit. He said, you don't have to worry about looking for work. He said, we got you. We got plenty of work for you to do. And I was like, that planted the seed for me, like, I wasn't really happy where I was working. And I was like, man, how cool is that? Like, and then he said, then the next words were like, this ain't no April Fool's joke, is it? And I was like, well, it's me, and it is April 1st. And so, as time progressed, I told him, like, I would like to really take him up on that offer. And he said, well, it doesn't matter if you come to work here next week or next year, that offer's on the table. And, that's the power of the program. You know what I mean? That's Narcotics Anonymous. In my life, that's the miracle. The miracle is that I haven't used drugs in almost 6 years. But for me to be restored my life with my family is that wasn't promised. That wasn't promised, That's a gift. And it's a real gift to be present in the moment, to be clean. Don't ever count anybody out. If it can happen for me, it can happen for you. I did it with regular meeting attendance. I did it with help from my home group. I did it just for today, just like we all do, Just for today, I won't pick up. It didn't happen overnight. It happened by me continually to put effort forward. It's crazy, man. Like, I love going to the meetings still. If I could do 90 and 90 today, I would. But I'm fucking scared of COVID. Fuck. So I go to my home group, and I do get out some. When I do get out, I wear a mask. I don't know if it's CDC guidelines mask. It's a mask, I really want you to know, though, the feelings I got when I was there at the Breakfast Club. I thought when I first heard about it, I thought, fuck, I'll never make the Breakfast Club. It's 2 hours away, and it's at 8 a.m. Like, I'll never be able to make it, And, come to find out, it's at 8 p.m., I'm like, fuck, I could make that, man, it's a special vibe I got there, A lot of people there. I love a lot of people. I love big meetings. I love fellowship. I love seeing my friends. I love going to other events. I love seeing people that I haven't seen all year. And I know that they're still staying clean, that they're fighting their struggles just like we all do. And together we can do anything, man. I get that. It's not an I program, it's a we program. Like, we are the ones that help me reestablish my life with my family. I probably wouldn't have done it. I do remember the last day I used was my clean date, man. I was getting ready to go into drug court, man, and I had this piece of copper pipe. It's a 1/2-inch copper tube, and I've never used my man purse before, but I was willing to try. So I fucking I slid the tube in, and I tried for about 2 hours to get me a keister bag in because I thought I was going to jail. Come to find out, like, you got to relax to get it up in there, and I wasn't able to relax. So I literally fucked myself on the last day I used, and I finally give up and went to court and pled in, and that was where it started. I come home, give all my dope to my roommate, moved into an Oxford house, and I've been clean ever since. So I appreciate y'all letting me share. That's really all I got.
Thanks, Frankie.
Yeah.
Oh, no, like you.
All right.